From muslin to Jamdani, the living legacy of Bengal's finest weave. The delicacy that defined Dhaka muslin. Dhaka muslin was once considered one of the finest cotton fabrics in the world. European travelers described it as extremely light and sheer. Some accounts say a full length of muslin could pass through a ring. The best surviving examples show thread densities of around 800 to 1200 threads per square inch, counting both warp and weft together. Some historical descriptions mention 800 to 1800 warp threads per inch, which refers only to the vertical threads. Even the lower end of these numbers is very high, especially because the cloth was made entirely by hand. Ecology, cotton, and the labor system. Muslin was produced mainly in eastern Bengal, especially around Dhaka, Sonargaon, and Kapasia, near the Meghna River. The cotton associated with this fabric is known as Phuti Karpas, from the species Gossypium arboreum. This cotton had short, delicate fibers which required skill to spin into fine thread. The humid climate of the region played an important role. Fine cotton yarn can break easily in dry air. The moisture in the river area helps stabilize the threads during spinning and weaving. Historical accounts suggest that spinning was often done early in the morning when the air was most humid. Producing such fine yarn required training and experience. Weaving was carried out by professional communities, including Muslim Zulahas and Hindu Tatis. In the Dhaka region, Muslim weaving groups were specially active in muslin production during the Mughal period. Muslin production involved many stages: growing the cotton, cleaning it, spinning the yarn, setting up the loom, weaving, washing, and finishing. Muslin in the Mughal and global context. From the 16th to the 18th century, Bengal was one of the main textile producing regions of the Mughal Empire. Dhaka became more important in the early 17th century when Islam Khan Chishti made it a provincial capital. Under emperors such as Jahangir and Shah Jahan, fine muslin was used by elites at court. Certain varieties, including Malmal Khas, were linked to the high status used in Mughal society. Clothing reflected rank and position, and muslin became associated with refinement. European traders were active in Bengal before direct colonial rule. Portuguese merchants were present by the late 16th century. In the 17th century, Dutch and French trading companies established operations in the region. In the 18th century, the British East India Company expanded its control over trade. Muslin was transported through river networks to ports and then exported to other parts of the world. Colonial change and industrial competition. A major shift occurred after the Battle of Plassey in 1757, when the British East India Company gained political control over Bengal. Over time, changes in taxation and procurement system reduced the independence of local weavers. At the same time, textile production in Britain was changing. During the Industrial Revolution, mechanized spinning and weaving made cotton cloth much cheaper and faster to produce. By the early 19th century, factory-made textiles were entering markets that had previously depended on handloom production. Muslin required time, skilled labor, and specific environmental conditions. It could not compete with industrial-scale production in terms of price or volume. By the mid-19th century, the production of the finest Dhaka muslin had largely declined. The emergence of Jamdani. Jamdani developed within the muslin tradition, especially during the Mughal period. Muslin refers to the fine plain fabric. Jamdani refers to a weaving technique that adds patterns directly into the fabric while it is being made. Jamdani is woven on a traditional pit loom. The weavers sit with the loom partly set below floor level. The base cloth is woven in plain weave, similar to muslin. What makes Jamdani different is the use of supplementary weft threads. As the ground fabric is woven, extra threads are inserted by hand to create motifs. These threads are not carried across the entire width of the cloth. They appear only where the design is needed. Common motifs include floral designs, vines, geometric forms influenced by Mughal aesthetics. A Jamdani sari can take weeks or months to complete, depending on the detail of the design. Survival through adaptation. When ultrafine muslin declined in the 19th century, Jamdani survived by adjusting to changing markets. It became closely associated with the sari, which ensured continued demand. Weaving communities around Dhaka and Narayanganj, including areas such as Rupganj and Damra, continued the craft within family-based system. Modern Jamdani does not always reach the highest thread counts of historic muslin. However, the core weaving knowledge, handling fine cotton and integrating pattern into structure remains. In 2013, UNESCO included the traditional art of Jamdani weaving on its representative lists of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity.